Welcome back to Socially Speaking. It's currently 17 after the hour, and today I want to talk to you. You, the Socially Speaking listener, you who know that injustice is prevalent in America, and you're not sure what to do about it. Now, sometimes we have to rely on those who lead, those who are in leadership positions, those who are in positions of authority to speak up and speak out for those who are voices. What I know is that in this country, white America relies on that as a strategy. Do we, as black Americans, do the same? I think during the civil rights movement we did. Now, as many of you know, NFL players across the country demonstrated during the national anthem for the Sunday football games in a show of solidarity against your so-called President Trump. Now, he scolded the league and the NFL players on Twitter this weekend. I watched some of the games, and I turned my TV off during the national anthem. In the first game I watched. But in the second one, the night game, the featured night game between the Washington football team and, who did they beat? Whoever they beat. I lose my memory. But during that game I watched the national anthem to see if the racist owner of the Washington team would stand in solidarity with his players. So this so-called President Trump, what did he do? Well, I'll tell you what he did. You heard him at a rally in Alabama on Friday. This is what your so-called president said.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Now, anyone who hears that, they hear the coded language, which he wasn't as coded when he referred to the subject of his statement. When he called NFL players sons of bitches who opposed him, in essence, but who protested America through not standing and holding your hand over your chest during the national anthem. Well, I'm here with our content producer, Barbara Patterson. And Barbara gave me some salient points to think on. You know, every week we post the other side of the tracks commentary at theblackcommentator.com. And we make social statements that speak to America's ills. I have no problem with it. Barbara, thanks for joining me just for the moment on Socially Speaking.
My pleasure.
Now, Barbara does some of the greatest work, I think. You know, when you talk about people who say, oh, I just work behind the scenes, well, Barbara is truly a worker behind the scenes. People, if you only knew how good Barbara makes me look, you'd hire her in a second. So I'm going to keep it a secret. But what I won't keep a secret is, Barbara, your take on what this so-called president did this weekend by making a statement that we played earlier.
What he did was prompted, and thank you for the compliments, by the way, I'm blushing. But what he did was, I think he angered or riled our community up so much, or the players, that they really had no other choice as black men to take a stand against what he said. I mean, he's basically calling their mothers bitches. Now, it's a whole nother conversation about what we say our hip-hop artists say in music, calling mothers, sisters, aunts, women bitches. But the football players had to do that in response to him. And I don't know what we expect the players to do going forward, but I know that we need to do something. We need to make up our minds that we have elections coming up in 2018. We need to make up our minds as to whether we're going to vote a neoliberal Democrat in, or whether we're going to break with that historical tradition and vote in someone who actually represents our interests and be willing to continue the hard work of making that politician, that elected leadership, accountable.
Now, Barbara, oftentimes we see protest, and all we see is protest. So what I think I heard you say was that there needs to be some political will on the other side of a protest.
Absolutely, absolutely. The protest only goes but so far.
So with what Donald Trump said and did, it was imperative, I believe, for us to voice the fact that we have a quote-unquote elected leader, selected, many of us, but an elected leader in the President of the United States, who disgraces the presidency on a constant basis.
Absolutely.
Say with unequivocal force that we should support denying a citizen his or her First Amendment rights.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was saying.
Now, as far as that goes, what are some of the other strategies that you believe that Black Americans need to take in light of the 70% of NFL players who are Black, who are on rosters? Not to mention, serve as, towel boys and ball boys and support staff. What do you think is a strategy Black Americans need to take, not just the players?
Oh yeah, one thing is to continue the boycott against the NFL, which I understand is effective. The Black Law Enforcement Association this past spring called for a boycott of the NFL if Colin Kaepernick were not hired by the beginning of the season, and we see that he is not, or has not been hired yet. So I think that news spread, and then there's another Black organization, Black men, who have called for an NFL boycott, and people are listening. So we need to continue that. We need to take to social media to these and post to the individual players who have been standing up, post to their Facebook pages and Twitter feeds in support of them to let them know that we support them. But more importantly, we need to be galvanizing in our own communities to find, groom, and support leadership on a local level to change this ridiculous paradigm of being volleyed between Republicans and Democrats every 2 to 4 years.
And Barbara, matter of fact, I want you to hear what Donald Trump said when he was running for the presidency, and the one time I can remember specifically that he referred or spoke to Black America. This is what Donald Trump said.
No group in America has been more harmed by Hillary Clinton's policies than African Americans. No group. No group. If Hillary Clinton's goal was to inflict pain on the African American community, she could not have done a better job. It's a disgrace. Tonight, I'm asking for the vote of every single African American citizen in this country who wants to see a better future. Look how much African American communities have suffered under Democratic control. To those I say the following: what do you have to lose by trying something new like Trump? What do you have to lose?
Now, with that said, with Donald Trump saying, you might as well try me, you ain't getting nothing else out of Democrats, I think his point that we got nothing out of Democrats was true, or we're getting less out of Democrats is true. But, Barbara, do we trade in the devil we know for Satan whom we don't?
Actually, we need to jettison them both.
Mm.
There were too many blacks who voted for Donald Trump. I don't know that they necessarily believed that line that he fed us, you know, what do you have to lose? But they were just fed up and knew that we really didn't have anything coming from the Democrats. But, you know, we need to just, this two-party system is not working for black people, and we cannot any longer rely on it.